Civil Services Coaching Center, Chennai, on the topic How to Approach Sociology Questions on Optional Paper by Dr. Sharmistha, Bhattacharjee, Associate Professor, Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, Sriperumbudur, Tamil Nadu, under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. She did his PhD in sociology from Vishwa Bharati Santiniketan University, West Bengal, Master of Philosophy MPhil degree in sociology from Delhi School of Economics under the University of Delhi, Master of Arts Sociology from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi, and also first rank holder in sociology degree. Qualified, and also she qualified UGC National Education Testing and state level education testing in West Bengal in sociology. Holds a master degree in business administration. She worked as an assistant professor senior grade with JP Institute of Information Technology, Noida, deemed university. Served as an academic associate at Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Have more than 11 years of teaching experience, guided PhD and B.Tech students, author of 2 books, published more than 35 research papers in reputed journals and articles in reputed books, presented more than 20 papers in national and international conferences, editorial board member for 3 journals, life member of Indian Sociological Society and Indian Association of Social Science and Health, specializes in empowerment of women and children, tribal development, organization, behavior, entrepreneurship, industrial relations, community and youth development. I welcome Dr. Sharmistha Bhattacharjee, Associate Professor of Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, to deliver her ideas on UPSC Sociology, and also welcome all the aspirants of All India Civil Service Coaching Center and faculty members. Thank you. Okay, madam. I welcome, madam. Now, our resource person deliver ideas on sociology, optional paper.
There, you can start. Should I start? Yes, okay. I'll start. A very good afternoon to one and all, and today I am given the task to speak on sociology as an optional subject for UPSC, for the preparation of UPSC, and thanks to Anna University for giving me this opportunity to help the rural children to actually go for this subject as an option. Although it is sociology over days and over decades have become very popular and was always popular as a UPSC subject, and people used to take this subject because not it was easy, but it is a very essential part of our society. Without knowing the society, knowing things are very difficult. So today what I will introduce to you to the concept of introduction to sociology and what we know as sociological imagination. So what is sociology? Sociology is a scientific study of human behavior in a group of the social processes that influence the behavior. We study human behavior in the society and how are the social forces, how are the institutions, the community, the various factors which play in our society has a very important role to play. It is a scientific study. Like many other sciences, it is also known as sociology of science. And when the discipline actually started, although people take it back to the European studies, it was a study people wanted to make it a human society study and a social behavior study. So what we do in sociology, we study society and we study social behavior in a very systematic manner by which allows us to establish the facts of the society. We use all pre-scientific methods so that we can actually go with the things in a proper manner, as well as we talk about authority, we talk about intuition, and we talk about logic when we speak about sociology per se. Now, how do I define sociology? Defining sociological perspective is it is a scientific study of human society and social interaction. And what makes it scientific? We have a very well-known scholar writing on sociological imagination who coined the term sociological imagination, and we refer to it as the vivid awareness of the relationship between private experience and wider society. That what happens in the institutions have a direct relationship what happens in the individual level of a person. We can correlate it, we can have a beautiful understanding between the two. Every one of us know what is common sense. We know very well that any activity which we do is related to common sense of society. And many a times our parents also say from our childhood that we should have a common sense in particular so that we can understand things in a proper way. So what is common sense? Common sense is an assumption and usually based on limited observations. When I have limited observations, I say that it is a common sense and I keep on believing in that sense form so that I can suddenly examine it in a proper manner so that it reaches to the people. Common sense is very important in sociology because we are studying the discipline of sociology, we are studying society, and common sense is a very basic understanding that how I understand things is very important. So what does sociology seek to? It seeks to very careful observation and theoretical understanding to explain those observations. It does not just observe and come to conclusions, but every observation in sociology will have a theoretical orientation also. That all the social behaviors, all the social facts, all what is being said as a part of the society will be selected observations which we do and make it a theoretical base and further which helps in scientific investigations. Sociological research might confirm social common sense. And when we have a common sense that yes, you should sit straight if you want to be healthy, you should be on your way that yes, you should pick up the apples on time in your life so that you can be successful in life. That is all common sense. But that does not go a long way because it is based on observations, then on theoretical orientations, and through research you come to a conclusion. So that is what we relate with sociology and common sense. But we do it in a very systematic manner. We don't just arrive to conclusions. It is a body of systematically arranged knowledge that shows operation of general laws. If I want to show operations of general laws, I like a scientific method. I need to analyze the data. I need to gather the data in a proper way. I need to do everything which is done in sciences. Like I need to do a proper review of literature in a scientific manner. I need to know if I am talking about women empowerment, I should have proper data and review of literature of women empowerment. Then I formulate a hypothesis that whether education will empower women, whether education will make women more conscious about health disabilities. These are hypotheses. Then I go for a research design which I will elaborate when in further lectures I talk about research design. I'll talk about what are the three types of research design, like the descriptive research design, experimental research design, and exploratory research design. Then we choose a research design in a very systematic manner, and then we collect data on it. We go to the field, we build up a rapport. We don't have an experimental lab like sciences, but our lab is our field. Going to a village, going to a slum, going to an urban locality, going to a place where many people do not want to search the document. We go live, we collect data, and we analyze that data in a very systematic manner. Most of the studies are qualitative in nature, but it is not like this that it is always qualitative, but we have also quantitative studies which help in making it more scientific in nature. So this is how we go when we talk about sociology as a science. So there are certain basic postulates which we have to know if we want to say sociology as a science. So we have to define the order of whatever events are occurring. Second, the knowledge is superior to ignorance. Means people may be ignorant about certain things, but that knowledge removes that ignorance. And communication based on perception. It is not perception based always, but those perceptions are well judged, well evaluated, and then only comes to a conclusion. There is also a cause and effect relationship within the physical and social order, which they want to have a cause and effect relationship. And there can be a scientific observer as capacity to conceptualize and assign the meaning. Means how well the scientists observe it, how do they conceptualize it, how they relate to it, how they actually come to a conclusion in providing of the data. Okay, so this is about the basic postulates of a science, which science does and which also sociology tries to do. So from science, what we have taken? We have taken the theoretical orientation, like there is a proper theory there has to be a particular reaction or evaluation or equation in theory. Similarly, we also develop hypotheses. We may not develop many a times hypotheses, but we look at the phenomena, that how it is being going through. Then we make some empirical observations, that we go to the field and collect proper data for preparing empirical observations. Then we logically derive to a conclusion that whether if I am talking about women empowerment in a particular context, whether I can analyze it by facts and figures. And cumulative, that is, I combine various data and try to reach to a conclusion. And I also do a reliability check, that how far my data is correct, whether it can be further corrected or whether it can be. This is what science is. This is how we understand science. But when we relate science to sociology, the same things are being repeated in the discipline of sociology, so that we can have a better understanding of the discipline. So this is what many scientific people who do science will be able to relate to it. Many people who come from UPSC come from scientific background also. But sociology also adopts all the scientific methods which are there in the sciences. So as a discipline, it emerged in the 19th century. Although people look back to integrate that it came when social evils were there, like French Revolution and Industrial Revolution. And there are a long number of sociologists who have contributed to this discipline. Not only European scholars, but many scholars who had played a very important role for the coming up of the sociological understanding. So what were the pre-sociological influences? That there are probability that the first person systematically studied the society. But there was no systematic way of studying society at that time, because people who came into the field of sociology were scientific people. They considered man as an organism. Organism tends to survival. They survive in groups. They are social animals. They are ordered in, man is ordered in a society. And the order of the society is knowable to them. That it is known that how the order is there in the society. So there were various pre-sociological influences when actually. I will not start with a European scholar, but I would like to speak about Khaldun. If we look upon sociological literature, although he is not considered as father of sociology, but Khaldun's work was understanding, helping to understand the cyclical pattern of social change. He made an attempt, you can see the date back in my slide, that when he was telling that there he understood the cyclical pattern of social change. He studied social conflict, he studied the typological frame, and he described the Arabian society into a rural society and an urban society, which he gave names. Later on, Hume, Durkheim also gave their own names and understood a small society and a larger society, a pre-industrial society and a post-industrial society. But Khaldun had an important contribution to society, and he was further elaborated by people. He was known as a historical sociology. Although he was not the founder of sociology, but he has a very big understanding and historical setup in understanding sociology. So his understanding were very systematic, which helped to understand the less developed societies and the more developed societies. And his significant contribution was he acknowledged also what is trending in the modern sociology. And he was able to understand at that point of time that how society is growing. So new science also he spoke about. He spoke about civilization as a product of human interaction and many more like them which we find in the studies of Khaldun. He spoke about social solidarity also, which later on Durkheim stressed upon. Coming to the European context, as I was telling you, that sociologists wanted to study sociology in an European context because of the industrial world, because of the science and technology which was growing, and many were interested to study because there was a Catholic Church which was being growing and how it affected the people of that particular society, how it was growing. And one among them was Saint Simon, who spoke about this in a very positivist and a very scientific manner, in a very purity and practical manner, that how Christianity actually helps in human values and how it allows you to grow. So, before I talk about Kuhn, who is the father of sociology, Khaldun was Khaldun's understanding also influenced, although he was not taken, but he was being affected by what Khaldun was writing as historical sociology. But Auguste Comte, who is the father of sociology, coined the term sociology. And he set up to believe that it is a science of man. As I am telling, that we have borrowed a lot of postulates from sciences. So he understood science of man, where we do empirical observations, where we do proper observations so that we can study human behavior in a systematic manner. So what are the two aspects of society for Comte? One is social statics and the other is social dynamics. For him, very important from exam point of view, students, social statics of Comte and social dynamics of Comte is very important. What is social statics? Social statics is the forces which produce order and stability. Whatever is in the society, it has to be ordered, it should be stable, so that a person can stay in the society. As well as the society will never stay the same. There will be various forces which allow to change and make a social change over a period of time. In Indian context also, when we talk about M.N. Srinivas, without talking about him, we cannot talk about sociology in India. We talk about Sanskritization, we talk about westernization, we talk about modernization. That is social change. So in that context, Comte was also has a huge contribution as a father to the study of social changes which has occurred. For him, he first considered it as social physics because he came from the discipline of physics, and he coined the term of sociology by a hybrid term compounded of Greek and Latin parts. I've tried to give the references so that when you study for your examination, it will be easier. So he termed the term sociology, which was taken. The main contribution of Comte was positivism. Positivism is what? Which seeks to describe only what is obvious. One can really be positive about the sense of data, which is a fact. Like in science, we look for facts. He was a positivist. He also saw things in terms of facts. And he was very clear that positivists seek to see black sheep of a meadow could not see. If there is a black sheep, he could only say, I see a black sheep, one side of which is black. That was so clear in sociology as a fact that if I am seeing a black sheep in a meadow, I can only see the one part of the sheep, so I can say that I can see a sheep where the one side of the sheep is black. In other words, what Comte was trying to say is, Comte saw a need for scientific approach towards studying structure and interaction within the society. Although he was believing in the facts, but he was also believing in the scientific approach, that is studying the social structure as well as the interaction within the society. So he was studying the aspects of society are obvious to us in a vague manner. Things are obvious. We can see things. We can feel things. We can interact with things. And that is very obvious. The scientific method uncovers sociological phenomena that is not always so obvious. So it will be not always obvious, but a phenomena which is taking place will be obvious too. And in his intellectual discipline process only, in facts and experience, it rests on information and positive statements. Like he believed in facts, he believed in explanation, he believed in what we say as phenomena. So similarly, Herbert Spencer also contributed two principles of sociology. He was a strong believer of social Darwinism, and he had the idea also like Darwin that there is a survival of the fittest. So I have taken some context of this, of the first unit which was there, that what was there in European context, how did it start, what is common sense, what is being done, how did sociology start, and this is how I went through today. Do I have more time, if anyone can tell me? Hello? How much time do I have? I can continue. Till what time should I continue? Yeah, can I continue another 10-15 minutes? Okay. So then I'll take you through the Karl Marx. I'll not go in detail today, but as I deliver lectures on various topics, I will go in detail. And the first scholar which comes to my mind after Herbert Spencer and Comte is Karl Marx, who was the father of conflict theory. He was studying two conflict between the classes. He was the one to make major difference between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, and where he emphasized that the bourgeoisie is the owner of production and the proletariat is the worker. And he said that the revolution was coming up and it was forming a socialistic state and followed by a communistic state. Then we came to Durkheim, where Durkheim understood sociology fully in the realm of empirical sciences to investigate and come to an argument, and and one of his well-known empirical studies is suicide. And what did he do in his suicide study? Where he looks upon social causes of suicide. Why do people commit suicide? And what he was the founder of the functionalist theory also. So how did he look at suicide? He said that because he was empirically looking upon it, that society suicide can be understood in four types. One is the egoistic suicide, where people have less cohesiveness, less attachment. Secondly, altruistic suicide, where there is higher level of solidarity. People are so governed by the society, so governed towards the religion that they go for a altruistic suicide. Third, anomic suicide, industrial society, moving society. I cannot survive, so I can move towards a anomic suicide. Fatalistic suicide is a domain of where there are slaves, bonded labor, and where a person has to survive. Other than Durkheim, we have another leading scholar when we have to start talking about sociology. It is Max Weber. Max Weber's contribution was Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism. When I come to Max Weber in detail, I'll talk about this book and Marx and challenge Marx's role on the religion in society. And he was also interested in bureaucracies and the process of rationalization, how to rationalize things, how to bureaucratize them, what actually is bureaucracy, what actually happened. But it is not only that in European context that sociology has come into development, but in American sociology also, University of Chicago in the 20th century also did a lot of work in emergence of sociology. It emphasized on community, neighborhood studies, and a lot of scholars from Columbia and Harvard universities. I have scholars like Talcott Person, Robert Martin, Dubrow have contributed to sociology. So let me touch upon the theoretical perspectives little today. So first among them is the functionalism. What is functionalism? We know that if I have a body, all the organs have to function for living body to function. Similarly, in a society per se, every institution has to function for the growth of the society. It has to be harmonious with the society, highly interrelated part of the society. And the image of functionalism used to understand society as a living organism. Means, just like I told you the example of various organs of the body, you have living organisms. Like a living organism, the society also functions. That is the basic understanding of functionalist. What does it say? Each part of the society works together for the benefit of the whole of such a living organism. Means every part in the society has to work for the well-being of the. What does this theory stress on? It stresses on contribution made by social or cultural phenomena to the system of which they are a part. That how they come to an equilibrium, how they come to a stability. If you remember, I was talking about Home, where he spoke about social statics and social dynamics. That functionalism also spoke about stability, equilibrium, interrelatedness of the parts, cultural consciousness, social order, state of society, and balancing. What does it do? It views society as an organism whose parts are interrelated. Social problems are disruptions in the system, also holds the problems of social institution, produce patterns of deviance, or that institutional pattern of a strategic social change. Individuals are socialized by society and institutions. Socialization is a process of social control, and people need society of its institutions. Means you have to grow as an institution. The second theory which I will take, I think I'll take it the last slide today. For today, it is the conflict theory. I've already spoken about Karl Marx, who was talking about conflict theory, and there are conflicting interests of the group of power and privileges. So there is a leading for a class struggle, and this leads to social changes. So it focuses on inequality, differentiation of power, contradiction, inequality, and permanent aspects of the society for social change. So I stop here today, and I hope in the next lecture I can take up something called interactionism, ethnomethodology, self-science and society, dermatological understanding, and how do we compare various theoretical understanding in sociology. So thank you for today. I hope if there is any questions, you can put me the questions. I can also answer them. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can I stop sharing? Okay. Okay, thank you. And thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much to you all. And you can recontact me. Sulochana can always, Sulochana has my number. And I can further proceed with the syllabus as it goes. Okay. Thank you very much.